You know, for more than a decade now, there's been this civil war, really, raging inside one of gaming's biggest empires. The Fighters, two of the most successful video games ever made. Now, they've got the same DNA, from the same developer, but they are built on philosophies that could not be more different. So today, we're going to dig into it, the great divide between Grand Theft Auto 4 and Grand Theft Auto 5. And it's a really fascinating question, right? I mean, how can a game that sold over 190 million copies, a true cultural juggernaut, how can that game be seen by a massive chunk of its own fan base as a downgrade? Well, to get to the bottom of that, we first have to get to know the two titans at the center of this whole conflict. Okay, so let's break this down. In one corner, you've got Grand Theft Auto 4 from 2008, and even now, it's still got the highest critic score of any GTA game on Metacritic. The critics absolutely loved it, a real darling. Then, in the other corner, you have 2013's Grand Theft Auto 5, and this thing, it's sold so much, it's not even fair to just call it a game anymore. We're talking one of the best-selling entertainment products in all of human history. So you see the split, right? Critical acclaim versus just unbelievable commercial dominance. And that right there is the heart of this entire debate. So to really get GTA 4, you have to kind of reframe how you see it. This wasn't just the next GTA game. No, this was a deliberate, artistic choice. Rockstar decided to pivot, and pivot hard, into a world that was way darker, more grounded, and just totally unapologetically realistic. This was their big, bold experiment. And right at the center of that experiment was the protagonist, Nico Bellic. And listen, this was not your typical story of some charismatic criminal rising through the ranks. The Guardian called it a dark fable, and that's exactly what it was. It's this tragic story of a war veteran, totally haunted by his past, who comes to a fictional New York, only to find out that the whole American dream thing is a complete lie. The story had real stakes, real consequences. And that grim, heavy feeling, well, it set the tone for literally everything else in the game. And that dark, gritty tone, it just soaked into the world itself. Liberty City felt alive, but in a really realistic, kind of miserable way. I mean, when it started to rain, people on the street would actually pull out umbrellas. You'd bump into someone and they might really drop their bag of groceries. You could be walking down an alley and stumble on cops making a real arrest. It all built up to what fans called this depressing vibe, which, funny enough, made it feel incredibly real and immersive. And people loved this. They absolutely adored it. Yeah, the map was smaller than what came later, but man, was it dense. Every single street, every building felt like it was put there for a reason, It felt handcrafted. Like this one Reddit user said, there was no useless space. The tight, twisting streets, it made the city feel like a character in its own right, a real urban jungle that was just so satisfying to learn and master. But the secret sauce, the thing that powered all this realism, it was literally an engine. A piece of tech called Euphoria, and it was absolutely groundbreaking. See, instead of using the same old pre-made animations for everything, Euphoria would generate character movements on the fly. So what does that mean? It means every single time someone fell or got in a car crash or got shot, their reaction was totally dynamically unique. It was a revolution, for sure. It made the whole world feel physically real. And you could feel that tech in the gameplay. When you were driving, you had to actually learn how to do it. The cars felt heavy, they had real weight. People called them boats on the road. If you took a corner too fast, you were done. Total loss of control. And crashes, man, they felt devastating. Same with combat. Gunshots had this real physical punch. Enemies wouldn't just flop over, no, they'd stumble, they'd grab where they were hit, they'd react differently every time. It was super challenging for sure. But for the people who loved it, it was incredibly satisfying. But here's the thing, that challenging realism, it was super divisive. I mean, for every single player who loved it, there was another one who just found it frustrating. So what did Rockstar do for the sequel? They course-corrected. Hard. GTA 5 became the total opposite of Ivy, a deliberate pivot away from all that grit and straight towards pure, non-stop blockbuster fun. And this quote from Sportskita, it just nails it. It says that GTA 5 really felt like Rockstar was trying to correct the course. And yeah, it totally did. It was like a direct response to all the complaints about IV. It seems like Rockstar really took that feedback to heart and just said, okay, let's build a game that's easier to get into, way more explosive, and aimed right at the biggest audience possible. I mean, just look at the map for starters. Rockstar completely traded that dense, almost claustrophobic concrete jungle of Liberty City. for the massive sunny state of San Andreas. Yeah, you had the city, Los Santos, but it was surrounded by these huge stretches of mountains and deserts and countryside. The whole world was bigger, it was brighter, and way more diverse. But that change brought its own backlash. For the fans who loved GTA 4's design, all that huge countryside, it just felt empty. The city part, Los Santos, was cool and detailed, but it was just one corner of a map that a lot of people felt was packed with useless space. The exact opposite of what they loved about Liberty City. And the criticism went way deeper than just the map. The number one complaint you hear from GTA 4 loyalists is about the physics, that super complex, really challenging system that made the last game so unique. Well, in GTA 5, it was, let's just say, simplified a lot. Or, as the fans would put it, it was dumbed down. And you see this most clearly with the driving. It's night and day. Those heavy, boat-like cars that you actually had to learn how to drive, gone. They were replaced with this super responsive, arcadey model where the cars felt like they were glued to the road. Look, it was easier, it was faster, and for sure more accessible. But for a lot of the old guard, it sacrificed all the depth and satisfaction you got from finally mastering GTA 4's challenge. And the tone of the story? Just as big of a shift. That grounded, tragic immigrant story from GTA 4 replaced with this loud, over-the-top satire of Hollywood and American culture. The humor changed too. The dark, kind of subtle jokes that characters in IV used to cope was swapped out for these broad, in-your-face punchlines. It wasn't a crime drama anymore. It was a full-on, explosive action comedy. Okay, so we've got our two totally opposing forces, right? On one side, a gritty, realistic, almost art house game. On the other, a fun, super accessible blockbuster. It really looks like Rockstar just threw out everything from the first game. But the truth is a little more complicated than that. What if I told you that the secret recipe for the blockbuster was hidden inside the art house experiment the whole time? All right, here it is. This is the twist. Buried deep inside all that gritty realism of GTA 4, there is this one legendary mission. It's called 3-Leaf Clover. It's this super complex bank heist where you have to work with a whole crew. And for everyone playing back then, it was an absolute showstopper, a total standout moment. Now think about this for a second. That one mission, that single explosive idea, became the entire core structure of Grand Theft Auto 5, a game built from the ground up around switching between 3 different characters to pull off these massive, complicated heists. And look, this isn't just some fan theory from a Reddit board. A former developer at Rockstar, Rob Carr, he confirmed it himself. He said that looking back, 3-Leaf Clover was the obvious blueprint. So get this, one game's most ambitious, standout mission became the entire gameplay loop of the next one. So GTA 5 wasn't a rejection of Ivy at all. It was an evolution. It took the single best idea from Ivy and repackaged it for the biggest audience possible. So when you boil it all down, this whole debate, it isn't really just about which game you personally like more. This endless back and forth between Ivy and V, it actually shows us this fundamental tension, this push and pull, that's at the heart of making pretty much any creative thing, but especially video games. So it leaves us with these big questions. What do you value more as a player? Do you want your games to be these challenging pieces of interactive art, or do you just want pure, easy-to-pick-up entertainment? Are you looking for deep, difficult immersion, or is it all about having fun right away? These are the exact questions Rockstar was wrestling with, and their two very different answers gave us two of the most important games of their generation. And that leaves us with one last huge question. With Grand Theft Auto 6 on the way, what path is Rockstar going to choose this time? Are they going to go back to the gritty realism of GTA 4, or will they double down on the blockbuster fun of GTA 5? Or maybe, just maybe, they'll find a completely new blueprint once again. The Great Divide, well, it continues.